This is Common Criminal Podcast. I am your host, Vince Polson. Welcoming back to the show, we got Brandon again this week. Brandon, how you doing,
I'm
man?
doing fine. Doing great.
Excellent. That's great news, man. That's great news. But just to catch everybody up, talking about these Fortnite video games, man. These free games you can just download on your Xbox or PlayStation and play right in your home. And what they did was they snuck that casino right into your living room with all these loot boxes and battle passes and all that bullshit. And the designer of these games, this CEO Darley, this dude pretty much maximized the game's potential by changing some of the designs and color schemes to make the game as addictive as possible. And it's funny when we talk about addictive things. Often I talk about I talk about drug use and stuff like that. But I just thought it was a little dark, you know, trying to get 10-year-old kids hooked on Fortnite. I feel like that's going to cause some cognitive damage. So I was just kind of curious what you thought about that, man.
Oh wow. Um, I mean, video games have always been that thing that growing up there was really never like a purpose for. I don't know if you remember like your parents telling you where I at least know like friends of mine who had parents that never understood video games at all. They're like raising their kids and they called it a screen addiction. One of my friends had like a particular parent who was so concerned with his addiction to electronics and never saw the purpose in it. But as addictive as they are, I do want to make the like another point that for the first time we actually have a whole industry of people making legitimate money playing these super addictive games. Like there are just new industries popping up. Like there is this kid made like $3 million. There's like multi-millionaires with new Lamborghinis and Ferraris, like living in LA, living in gaming
You know,
houses just to play this game.
I
Like,
do I do remember reading about that. The guy, like the 16-year-old kid, won the
yeah,
Fortnite World Championship. He got paid like it was like $3 or $4 million. But just for perspective, Tiger Woods, who is in his like 50s now, I think, for late
yeah.
40s. That dude, like that guy, got paid. I think it was only like 6 million or $7 million for winning the pro for winning like the what was it, US, was it US
It
Open,
was
I think was
he
what he
won
won.
something. He won some sort of major
Right,
event.
but his grand prize was, I mean, now granted, Tiger Woods also, just to be totally fair, he makes a ton of money off of
Ton of
endorsements,
chicks too.
not just winning the sport, which is how most professional golfers get paid. But for perspective, his grand prize, the equivalent grand prize for golf, the biggest thing of the year, he didn't even get paid twice as much. And he's been doing this his
Well,
whole
that
life.
goes to show you about
This
the
kid
amount
is
of money that's
16.
just in the industry then, because I bet you they could have gotten paid more. There is so much focus and attention, and there are so many kids that are getting their parents to buy things. So I'm pretty hip on Fortnite. I play it. I play it frequently. I've got a brother that's really good at it. He's 13, and we play it together. I know like
Uh,
the item shop. I watched World Cup live.
your brother's who you were
Yeah, just
playing with.
now.
Your brother was who you were
Yeah,
playing with
yeah. I
just
play
now?
with him
Okay.
pretty. I mean, he lives a couple hours away, so it's the best way to connect with him. And I'm not nearly as good as him. He's better than me. 100% of the time, he'll kill me. But I like to think I can kind of keep up. He calls me a bot, but
Hmm.
that
Well, isn't that kind of cool though? Because like when I was a kid, if I hung out, especially with for me, it was my cousins because I don't have any younger brothers, but I do have cousins that are like 5 or 10 years older than
right.
me, and playing when I would play games with them, we weren't playing video games. We were mostly, we were like playing basketball or like throwing around the baseball, which is kind of cool but they would have to take it easy on me because I was a little kid. Whereas like with Fortnite, it's the opposite. You can be 13 years old and be a pro at it.
It's
It's kind of fun actually.
crazy, and that's the thing. It's like nowadays, like I wonder if children are telling their parents, and parents are starting to believe it that they can make a legitimate profession, because it was YouTube. People wanted to be a YouTube star, people wanted to be like social media stars, and now you can be a gaming star. You literally can be a video game celebrity. It's like who's that? Like that ninja guy, dude. That guy had to have made like 20+ million dollars this year. Something ridiculous.
His girlfriend streams also, but yeah, he signed a deal. he's off of Twitch and now just on, like, Microsoft's,
Yeah,
streaming
Mixer.
thing,
It's
I
called
think.
Mixer.
Yeah, Mixer, there we go. Yeah, he's left Twitch and went to Mixer, and they paid him something absurd. Yeah, it was like 15
No
or
way. They
$20 million.
paid him that
It was
on
some
top of his
crazy big
dude, his
number.
endorsements are already so
Right.
huge.
Don't yeah, forget about his endorsements, forget about the money he wins off of tournaments, because that was just the one another thing about that kid winning the 3 or $4 million or whatever, that's just Fortnite. Rocket League has their own tournament that
Right.
I wanna say the grand prize is like $1 million and it goes to a team of 3, but that's still 300,000 per teammate.
I think
Like,
the top 50. No, I think all 100 of the people who went there ended up getting $50,000. Like just for making it there, you made 50K. And then I think you're in the money at top 20, and I think like the bottom person was a couple $100,000, but there were multiple people who won hundreds of thousands of dollars that day from that. And like I know League of Legends has always been big. There's always been a lot of big games, but I don't think that anything has been quite as large as the Fortnite movement yet. And you see things getting bigger over time. They're always talking about things are breaking streaming records. Well, that's because more people are on platforms and they're counting more views, and there's just more people that have access to it. So they're going
yeah,
to continue to. But I think Fortnite is going to
yeah,
break
you're
a lot of records.
Yeah, with the community getting so much larger and so aggressive, larger so much more aggressively, because now kids are growing up with iPads, which means they're on YouTube and Twitch all the time anyway. But then in addition to that, Fortnite did something that before, you'd have a game like Candy Crush that you could get for free. So literally everybody played Candy Crush. Everybody that I know has played Candy Crush like one time at least.
I'm on that
Whereas
side.
Fortnite,
I've definitely played it
right.
regretfully.
Exactly. I don't think if you go up to any person who owns a smartphone and you're like, "Hey, have you ever played Candy Crush?" They're gonna say yes. So what happens when you make a game that's actually engaging, like Fortnite? Like Overwatch was that was one of the first popularized shooters that was like easy enough that literally anybody could pick it up. Like it wasn't terribly uh, like, you could just pick up Overwatch, and if you weren't very good, it wasn't punishing you for not being very good. Like, your character could still use an ultimate and maybe kill
I
somebody.
played
So
Overwatch a
even if
couple
you
times
sucked,
and
you
did
were
decent, but I played shooters growing up like my whole life.
well, yeah, but I'm saying even if you're not good at shooters at all, at some point during the match, you're gonna get your ultimate attack or whatever, and you're probably gonna kill somebody. Like, if you have any level of skill at all, you're gonna get 1 or 2 kills off of this one
Like Star
attack,
Wars Battlefront.
which is the
That was a game I was
yeah.
pretty good at.
Yeah, even if you're not great at it, you still have an opportunity to jump in and do something.
But
And I think that with Fortnite, the learning curve is definitely a little bit less forgiving than Overwatch, but it's a free game, so everybody gets to play it. Unlike Overwatch, where not quite everybody actually picked it up,
right. Well, and
and
it's on every platform,
yeah.
and you can cross-platform. So it's one of the first games that you can play with somebody that's on their computer, in the same party with somebody that's on their phone, and the same party that's on an Xbox. You can connect all four of those and the Switch, so you can play with anybody all across all platforms at any point. You can play it, and I don't know what their phone statistic numbers are, because I don't know how many people are playing this complicated of a game on a phone. Personally, I've downloaded it once. I think I tried one game and never did it again because I have a console. But Fortnite was one of those first games to do that, where you can really be on every platform. And I hope the industry goes that way. I really do.
Well, Google has Google Scarlet now, where it uses your computer and your Chrome operating system. So you're playing very complex, detailed, like great games right through your browser like it's an old mini clip game. And then to make it better, your Scarlet like your Google Scarlet controller hooks up with your computer via Bluetooth or like your phone. So like you can play with an actual controller or a keyboard, whatever you prefer, and you can play it right through your browser. And that they like just released it in its beta stage, but like it didn't cost them anything. And then once again, here's your actual gaming platform that you can get into the gaming community for the cost of the controller, which granted I think is like a hundred
Well, then you probably
dollars
have
or
to buy the
so.
game too, but and you have to have
Right.
a
Well, then you got to
computer.
buy your
I mean,
games. but you have the console. A fucking Xbox is $800 at release. Like, if you want a good Xbox, like the 4K one or whatever, when it first
No,
came
they're
out,
like
wasn't it like
4,
600,
400,
$700?
500, maybe.
Dude, the PlayStation 4 was more than that.
No,
I know it
no, I
was.
have like 3 of them.
When it first
Yeah,
came
they're
out,
like
I'm talking
400,
release
400
day.
bucks.
They were more than
No,
that.
no,
No
they haven't
way.
gotten up to 800, I swear. No such thing.
Dude, I mean, the Switch was
That's a
375.
that's a huge waste of money. You should switch this the console and get something
Oh,
else.
come on, dude. You can't play Zelda on anything
I
else.
know, and my dad got the Switch, and I guess my dad's where I get all my like the nerd and the gaming and like I love it. Like I was thinking about today, I was thinking about how I used to read the Game Informers. Like I'd be in the bathroom and like I guess we didn't have cell phones, so I wasn't like on my cell phone in the bathroom doing things. So I'd have to like
We didn't have
yeah, we didn't have
smartphones.
smartphones. I'd have to like look at the like all the I think one thing I did was
The light
it was
reading.
reread the
Yeah.
shampoo bottle 100 times, and there was always this really long word that was in it, and I thought it might be the longest word in the English language, but it wasn't. But anyway, I would read the Game Informer, and I would remember going through each page and like looking at the new games that were coming out and getting super excited about it. But my dad played pretty much everything, and he has a Switch, and I think he just got it for the Zelda game. Like that was his reasoning for it. And I haven't been that into the series. I can't justify buying a whole system for childish looking games. I guess I don't know.
No, I definitely sympathize with you there because I've almost bought it for myself, probably 3 or 4 times now at least, where I've said like, you know what, I got the liquid cash. I kind of want to pick that thing up. Plus, Smash Bros is out now, so it's not just
I've
Zelda.
got a
I can play
GameCube.
Super
I've
Smash
got a
Bros.
GameCube. Like, um,
Yeah, I've got a Smash Bros 64 downloaded on the
why do you
Wii,
need to go get
so
a
I
new
can still play
system?
Smash
You know what
Bros
I'm
whenever.
saying? Like, you can,
That's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
you're good. Like,
Yeah, plus I've already got an Xbox One
dude,
anyway, which I mean, granted they gave up on being a console like a fucking year ago, but I
the
mean,
Xbox One was
they still
so
got some good
trash, man. Like,
dude, but they've still got Fortnite, they've still got Apex. I play Apex. I don't really play Fortnite anymore, but I play Apex. I'm not bad at it. Plus I can still play The Witcher. I can still play Dying Light. The second one comes out next year.
yeah,
So I've
those are
just
good games. I
yeah,
was a
exactly. The
huge
the
360
the
fan.
good ones.
I was a Microsoft guy up until the PS4, Xbox One came out. I got an Xbox One
Right.
first because I was a loyal fan. I was ticked off with the hardware. I didn't like the software, and it just was terrible. So then I got a PS4. I loved it, but the thing was so loud. So I got a PS4 Pro. Completely eliminated the Wi-Fi problems and the loud fan issue. And I like the software that's on it. It's excellent. It's great. I'm a huge PS4 fan. I'm excited for the
Dude,
next two consoles. I will buy both though.
you know what's crazy? I bought when the Xbox 360 and the PS3 were out, I bought the PS3 and it's only because I wanted to play Metal Gear Solid. So
Oh,
for
they
me it
do that.
wasn't
Yeah, I
it
remember.
right. It wasn't even for me it wasn't even a question. There was no way I was getting the Xbox cuz I had to be able to play Metal Gear Solid. And everybody made fun of me. They were like, "Dude, that's dumb. You don't get Halo, you can't get Alan Wake, you can't get," like they had a whole list of like these really
There was
dope games
Killzone
that I was
that was
bummed.
for PlayStation as well. Killzone. My dad
Yeah, we had Killzone. I
played
didn't even play Killzone for like a while, but then a buddy of mine, he moved in with my family, and so we would play Killzone when the PlayStation 3 motion controllers came
it.
out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I had the PlayStation 3. Everybody made fun of me, but then on the back half of that console generation, Xbox really didn't have anything anymore, but PlayStation kept getting more originals and more like exclusives. So then by the time the next round came out, because I had sold my PlayStation and then I had an Xbox for a little bit, and then I didn't. Like it was, I think like somebody was storing it at my house. I can't even remember why, but I had an Xbox for like 3 months and played Grand Theft Auto. But then when this round of consoles came out, I hadn't owned a video game console in a few years, but then I bought this TV from a buddy of mine, and he had an Xbox that he was like, "You know what? Fuck it. You just take the Xbox. I don't need the distraction in my house. That's why I'm getting rid of the TV." So he just gave me the Xbox with it. So I couldn't justify going out and buying a PlayStation 4, but I am so jealous that the PlayStation 4 was the best console this go
Yeah,
around.
it was 360 far stronger. The 360 was a far stronger. To me, the PS2 and the Xbox original, those differ in terms of the time they came out and the purpose I feel like they were used for. Like the PlayStation 2, in my opinion, is one of like the best, most versatile, longest lasting. Like, I mean, they were still making PS2 games for I don't even remember how long. Like it was crazy. People were still playing those. Like, I think the PS2 was definitely uh, maybe better. They're tied there, but when you get to it's the 360. 360 was better, and then the
The
PS4 was better.
PlayStation 2 is the highest performing in terms of sales number. The PlayStation 2 is the highest performing console of all
Yeah, that
time
makes
ever
sense.
released.
I still have a freaking
And it
Game Boy.
had the biggest longevity. It had the most unique ownership. Like it had the most sales, but then like the most owners that don't fall into your typical gamer
Yep.
demographic. But not only that, but like the actual graphics they built into the PlayStation 2 were actually pretty comparable to the graphics controllers and cards and everything they had in the PlayStation 3. The only difference was that the PlayStation 3 had a laser that could read Blu-ray discs and the PlayStation 2 did not. So like that was the main difference when the PlayStation 3 came out, but Sony was actually going bankrupt because they lost a bunch of their market share. So then when they came out with the Blu-ray disc, and that was the same time that the HD DVD came out,
Right.
which I don't remember what company
Blu-ray
even did the
ultimately
HD
won.
DVD. Yeah, but Blu-ray won out, and a lot of that is because of the PlayStation 3, because they had the Spider-Man DVD that came with your PlayStation when you bought it, that first
I
generation.
remember.
So it was Spider-Man 3, the black Spider-Man costume with Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, I had that.
And that was like the first movie I saw on Blu-ray, and it was so crystal clear. It was like better than being at the movie theater. And like that it was a wrap. After that, the whole industry went to Blu-ray. Sony, like, they got a bunch of funding. They don't even do as much in like their other markets now, but then they also did separate their Sony Entertainment, like their video games is separate from the movies and from the actual brand itself. And I don't know, dude, it's an incredible company, and like what they did to the video game industry is awesome.
I have a Sony
Because that
TV
PlayStation 4.
as well.
No way.
Yeah, I have
That's a good
I have
one.
one of
I
those
like
Sony. What do they call it? Sony Bravias. I don't know if you ever go into the Best Buy, right? You go in, you're looking at TVs, you're like, man, these are all pretty nice. Then you look over at these other ones, and they're like the really nice ones. And you look up, and it's like Sony or LG, and it's like they're marketing some sort of new technology. Like that's what TV I have. But you want to know the problem I'm running into is that I bought the PS4 Pro so that I could have the 4K, and I bought the highest end, like it was like a $2,000 50-inch TV, like ridiculous. Yeah,
Jesus.
and it's really nice. It has so many settings. It's absolutely incredible. It's kind of fun to go through them sometimes and like kind of look at all the settings. I don't even know what half of them do. My TV's probably all sorts of fucked up with the video settings, but I can't my Wi-Fi unless I connect it in through like an Ethernet isn't really strong enough to handle the type of resolution that it's capable of. Like it's just kind of like I can't stream like 4K as well as I want to because
Oh.
that or I'm messing up with some of the settings because I remember like there's certain videos that you can watch like Planet Earth where you can see it's crazy you can see the hair move like on some of the creatures but if you
Dude, I never even thought
yeah you
about
need the
that.
Wi-Fi
That
strength to be
like
able
you
to
would
stream that and streaming that high of resolution on like on
yeah, you
Netflix
would like have to have
yeah
FiOS.
yeah so you
Do you have FiOS?
dude we have Comcast I really want to talk about it. We have Xfinity. And I hate Comcast. There's a couple companies I'll never support from my
Shit, can you take it off of your headphone and switch it to the computer
yeah,
audio?
I can.
All right. There we go. Are you back to normal?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you way better.
Damn. So I guess my laptop microphone's better, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what it like your headset was doing perfect before, but
It could
now it's
be, dude. It's super
but
low on battery.
Yeah, that's possibly it too. It could just be dying. But yeah, so we were saying, shit, what were we saying? Where did we leave off?
The two companies I'll never support in my life.
Oh yeah, but yeah, man. You know what? Fuck it. The part of this audio is definitely gonna last.
All right, so we figured out that maybe my Bluetooth headset isn't as good as my laptop headset.
There we go. We're just gonna come in right here. This, including this part. Yeah, you're with some technical difficulties, folks. Sorry about that.
Damn it, Turtle Beach.
Hope you guys can remember what the hell we were talking
Oh
about.
yeah, I mean, I hate Comcast and I hate Sprint. I'm serious.
There we go. That's what it was. Fucking Comcast, dude. That company is terrible. And Verizon Fios is the coolest thing
Dude,
ever.
Verizon
When it comes
also
time to
is the better of the. It is the best out of any cell phone company. I know this because I've had cell phones for my entire adult life, and I've had the service. I've been all over the world with my cell phone, and I can tell you that Sprint is trash. Like I've been in like in the middle of nowhere in many countries where it's like, how am I still getting cell signal out here? Like, what the hell's going on? Like with Verizon, and I'm fine, I'm good all the time. Like, I don't care if I'm in a Colombian jungle, I've got service. I'll be like driving down the street in the capital of Virginia, and I'll drop a phone call with Sprint, and I look at it, and it's almost comedic. It's like, man, y'all really got me. Like, I'm paying you money every month, and like I can't even make a phone call. Like nice one. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all.
they say they say it's only 1%. Like the commercial has the old Verizon "Can you hear me now" guy. And they say, "Oh, well, it's just 1% worse." But that's like saying my car is 1% worse. I've got over 200 fucked up parts in there. Is that what you're trying to tell
Yeah,
me? Like it only one of them has to fucking suck.
dude,
And no,
dude,
dude, it drives me crazy. Your phone, you spend fucking 5 hours a day on your phone. Everybody does. Don't tell me if you have the new iPhone, it actually tells you how much time you spent looking at the screen
dude. When
today.
I had
You can look, and I guarantee it's 5 hours. 1% of that time, that's like 6 minutes of like your life wasted because the phone sucks.
dude, when I had Verizon, people used to offer me their Wi-Fi, and I said no. I have Verizon. I don't need your Wi-Fi. Like my
Dude, I
service is
still
fast.
do that. I have Verizon. I never use Wi-Fi at my own
Yeah,
house. At my own house, I don't use
exactly,
Wi-Fi
because your
because it's
service is
that
that
fast.
fucking good. Sprint, dude, I have to use Wi-Fi. I'll be like playing a game of Clash Royale on my phone at work, and I'll walk out and the Wi-Fi won't connect, and I'll lose the damn game because my service isn't good enough, and neither is the Wi-Fi. And I look at my phone and I'm like, dude, why am I still paying you guys money? Like,
Dude, no,
like
you wanna hear something really crazy? Episode, what was it? Episode 35, the last episode that I did with
right.
Courtney, on here. I literally recorded that in my car. I sat in my car and I used my phone as a tether for my laptop and recorded the entire episode sitting in my car on tether because Verizon is that
Dude,
fast.
that would be a good thing
Sorry,
to do is just make a video and talk about all the things you can do with your Verizon phone and how confident
you
you
know
are, and then take a Sprint person and watch him
you know
fucking
what pisses me
struggle.
off? Well, okay, this is actually a good opportunity, something I've been meaning to say on this show for a while. I'm gonna sell out the first opportunity I get. Yeah, I mean, if they tell me that like literally, and I'm not hiding this from anybody. If ever there's enough people watching this that somebody's like, "Hey, if you give us a 1-minute read about this product on your show, we'll pay you uh $20 for every 1,000 people listening." You think
20,000.
I'm gonna say fucking right. It will. No, I'm saying $20 for every 1,000. So if 1,000 people listen, they pay you $20 for a 1-minute read. But then most people do like 3, 4 of those in a row, and then if you got like 3,000 followers, that's $180. You know, you do 3 minutes of reading ads for with 3,000 followers. That's money right there. Like I'm saying, for 2,500 followers, a 1-minute ad read
I,
pays you what, 50
so to all
bucks?
the listeners out there, I just want to let you know he's only trying to amass you so you can listen to his ads.
Yeah, basically. I mean,
How do
yeah,
I get
we're
enough
just gonna
people
be honest.
together to listen to an ad?
Anybody, and I'm not afraid to say it. Yeah, tell me that I'm an asshole. Tell me I'm an asshole. I do this for free. Do you know how much time this takes?
Oh
The
man,
the the issues, how frustrating it is when people don't show up for their guest slots, and you know who you are. He knows who he is. I don't have to say his name.
yeah.
So- but my point is that yeah, this show does mean a lot to me. And you know what would mean even more to me? If this thing produced money.
Oh man, it's funny that
So
a scheme
yeah,
of life now is to get people to like listen to ads. Like that makes
right.
people
That's
a
like
lot
you
of
gotta
money.
trick them. They can skip them. If you're watching football and you recorded, like, the first 10 minutes of the game, you record it. You start at 10 minutes late. As soon as the ad starts, you just hit skip.
Dude, that's
You finish the
if
game with
you're
every
paying the cable company enough for the ability to do that. I don't
right,
do
that's
that.
what I'm
I
saying,
stream it
and
on
people skip ads.
what's it called? What are those
They
websites?
had to ESPN had to change the way that they did advertisements. They used to have commercial breaks for the ads, but now they keep the game going, and like a Budweiser banner just flies across the bottom of the screen because they're like, "Hey, fuck it, they can't skip that." So, so yeah, we're now in the digital age of tricking people to listen to ads, and if I get the opportunity to trick you guys, oh, I'm absolutely gonna do it.
we,
How much time it takes me to prepare this, and all I'm asking you is for 1 minute to listen to me talk about Butcher Box, you know? And so what I'm saying is if so I'm
use
definitely going to
code
do that. And if
Olsen.
yeah, use code Polson in the Butcher Box checkout, and you won't receive any money off. I just need them to
You
know
get nothing,
that it was me.
but we can endorse
Right, you
Joe
get
Rogan.
yeah, exactly. So I'm just saying that the way I see it,
Should we do some free ads? Should
if
we reach
if
out?
I get a chance, if I get to monetize, if I get to monetize this show, I'm claiming that whole show of me recording in my car on Tether. That's a 30-minute Verizon ad.
Dude,
Really, it's an hour and a
I've got a
half.
YouTube channel that I think has like some sort of nominal amount of followers. Actually, now that I think about it,
Well, if you want to repost or like link them over to my show, that would be great. I just get them right onto my side
so
of the thing, and they can see how much I value their
I had
time when I talk about trying to sell
I
ads to
had a
them.
video with why does it think I'm a VCU? This is crazy. I had a video that had 75,000 views one time, and I think I made like $200 off it.
75,000 views and $200.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess, I mean, they're $200 isn't bad, but I mean, can you imagine you'd have to do that 5 times a week and you'd still only make half as much money as you make as a decent car salesperson?
yeah. No, I mean it's you'd have to do that quite a bit. I think once you get like a
Yeah, you'd
following,
have
like
to.
that was only with like Google AdSense. That was the only like
Right. So
yeah.
yeah, so if you're not pumping more ads into there, not to mention getting freebies, like this old YouTube channel I used to watch, it was all these guys being funny. Why can't I remember their name? Uh It was at the same time Derek Comedy was getting really big,
Um,
but Derek Comedy, obviously, Childish Gambino, Donald Glover, whatever came out of that. But at the same time, this other troupe, they were using the Sanyo Zacti. I don't know why I remember that camera specifically because they were really great ads. And it was before GoPros came out, so these were like handheld flip cams that you could like submerge underwater and they'd still work just fine. And so that was like a big deal. And but yeah, those guys, they got free cameras. They didn't have an enormous following, but they did get like 5 free Sanyo Zactis. So like you can sell them at any point. You can sell them and get some extra cash. Above and beyond your AdSense money.
okay, okay. So just trying to get any by any means. So if anybody wants to send Vince a new camera, um,
Yeah,
should they reach out?
especially. I mean, I will record an episode of this podcast. You can see me talking into a camera, me, a beardy white guy, telling you how it
Oh, you got a
is.
beard?
Yeah, I got a beard.
Nice.
You didn't know I grew my
I
beard
mean,
out.
for me,
You
you will
haven't seen any
always
pictures
be
of me recently.
baby-faced, youthful, optimistic, bright, wide-eyed Vince with the curly.
Yeah. I cut off all my curly hair.
Jesus,
I rock I
you
rock
put it on the
short
bottom
hair.
of your face.
Yeah, well, hey, I mean, you see the picture on my Facebook page, the one for this the one for this podcast, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. You're
Got
right.
a beard,
Yeah, but when you
got all my
say it,
hair off.
it makes me think something different.
That's true. You know, I saw a picture of myself from, like, 5 or 6 years ago, and, like, it's just a picture of me, like, I just, like, have my shirt off, and I'm like I can't remember what we were doing, but anyway,
Saucing.
it's a picture of me with my shirt off, and it's a picture of me with my shirt off, and dude, I got like fucking abs, and like I'm skinny, and like I mean, I look like a kid. Like I like it's not a like I wouldn't look at that and be like, damn, I wish I looked like that
Right,
again, because like it looked like a kid's body.
right.
But at the same time, like I mean, but I was like 19, 20 years old, but I had like fucking abs, and like I was like defined. Like I just looked at it, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, "That's crazy." Like, I gotta I don't like I said, I don't wanna look like that again, but, like, I really need to tone up. Like, I'm losing some weight. I'm losing some weight. I've been working out and lifting, so, like, I've been putting on some muscle, but then I see that, I was like, "I don't wanna put on muscle. I wanna get tone. I wanna get tone and skinny." So I need to, like, stop eating ice cream and then, like, falling asleep an hour
Dude,
later.
speaking of which,
Like
I went and got a whole bunch of Capri Suns. So if you like, I have a mini fridge next to my bed, and there's only Capri Suns in it. It's excellent. So I was thinking,
dude, I bet that's great when you have girls
yeah,
over.
and guys like Capri Sun too.
Yeah, you know? Whatever you're into, man.
I mean, I have roommates, and they know this is the room to come to. So upstairs we have Club Pal, and then we have my room. Club Pal is pretty fun
Yeah.
to be
They're
hosting, but
not gay or anything, they're just super charismatic.
yeah, just a bunch of bros coming in for some Capri Suns.
Yeah, nothing weird about that,
Nothing
there's nothing
suspect
suspect, you know?
whatsoever.
It's 2019, man.
Dude, honestly, I had so many dudes laying in my bed watching movies at one point. I had to like put my bed sideways so we could sit on it bench style.
I don't ever hang out in my room like that, especially not when I have friends over.
Oh, my room is a
I
place
mean,
to
I
go.
guess in my old apartment, actually, I take that back. In my old apartment, I did, but like, yeah. So like when I lived in apartments, yeah, I definitely had people like we just hang out in the room. You'd have all the TV, yeah.
I mean, I'm
But
lucky enough that all my
I don't
friends
know.
from high school live in Richmond. Like every single one of them.
Oh, that's pretty
We grew
dope.
up 3 hours away from here, and we all moved here. And I live with some of them, so it's like we're just all super tight, super close, still living together. I don't know when that's gonna end. I don't know when we're all gonna like break off and decide that we're like angry at the world and we need to like own a home and put a fence around it and procreate and live that part of our lives. But I'm sure it's coming at some point.
Do you have to be angry at the world to do all those things?
No, no, you don't. Absolutely not.
Well,
But what I'm saying is
well,
like I'm not having fun anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like life is
right.
about doing this, and I need to prepare for that. And start squirreling things away, and in hopes that you can pass it on. I don't know.
Strap on those
I
responsibilities.
just have a different viewpoint of life, at least at this point in time. I don't foresee myself wanting to do. I mean, I have different goals. I guess my goals are I want to be as free as I can and live as free as I can without tying myself down so I can see as much as I can. Like I'm hoping that I can find some sort of opportunity to monetize like me being able to travel and do and see things. Like I don't think I'm anywhere near as like witty and humorous as Anthony Bourdain or anything, but that guy had a really cool job being able to go around and just kind of talk about the culture of different places and just look at it with that type of lens and try the food and the cultures and the customs, and I just think that shit's cool as fuck. So if I don't own a home but
Well,
I've been to every continent by the time I'm like 30, I'm gonna be happy, and I've only got a couple left. So
yeah, and I mean, I joke around about like, if I can monetize this thing, and I mean, it'd be, I mean, I'd be a liar, and if I said like that wouldn't be super fucking cool. Like if I could do that as a fucking job,
exactly, getting paid for
shooting the
what you
shit with
like to
people
do. Yeah,
online. Yeah, and I love talking to people on the phone. I love calling old buddies and saying, "Hey, how the hell are you? Like, what are you up to? Like, holy shit, you're a yoga teacher now. You have your own yoga studio. I'd love to talk about that. I want to know everything about it. What's it like to be my age and own a business and work for yourself?
right.
Every day you wake up and you might yeah, something. One thing I really like about car salesmen, working with so many of them, is that you wake up and every day you have the opportunity to make nothing, to work 16 hours and make not a dollar. Like you don't have the opportunity to do that with any other line of work. So you have to have a lot of self discipline. You have to be able to improve yourself, to coach yourself, and not to ever get tired. And like, I mean, I think people our age that own businesses, I want them to be able to talk to as many people as possible about what they had to do and maybe what changes they had to make in their life. And also to be honest about the fact that it takes a lot of time and you fail a lot before you succeed. You might, you had to hang it up for a little bit and go back to work in restaurants just to try again, another year down the line. And I mean, I like calling people and catching up with their life, and there's a way maybe I can do both,
That would be
I can,
great.
yeah, share something that's not, it shouldn't just be like motivational. Like I could sit here and talk to everybody just like this and tell them that they have all the tools they need to succeed. But that'd be a fucking lie. No, like, but what I mean, but it's not motivational, but something like inspirational that you can say, like, oh, there are people out here doing what they really like. And not everybody wants to be a masseuse or a fucking yoga teacher, but some people, like, they really like inventing things, or they think that they think animals are super interesting, or they think that medicine and healthcare is awesome and like that's really their passion. But think of all the people that go to nursing school that like really, or like nursing or doctors, all those people that go to medical school that like really would have rather like worked with like environmental conservation and the ocean. And like they were like, but I can just be a doctor, it pays more. But then the number of people that really wanted to be a doctor that became like a welder just because it takes too long to go to school and it seems unrealistic. Like if everybody did,
The
people are
welder
under the
that chose to not be a doctor.
well, I'm saying, like, if you come from a family that can't afford to like help you out while you're going through school, like you might think like there's no way I'm going to take out a loan so that I can go to medical school and stay in medical school for so
No,
long.
yes, people
I'm just
certainly
going to
don't
go down
follow
the
their
track.
passion every day and follow through with
My,
it.
and when you talk about following your passions, like when you hear a celebrity, like a professional singer, and they're like, everybody follow your dreams, what it sounds like they're saying is everybody needs to try and be a celebrity. And that's not what they're saying. What they're saying is you should do something that you're passionate about. And believe it or not, I think there are enough people passionate about practical things that you can go do that. Like in reality, I'm not doing this. Like I'm going to school right now. I want to build robots because I think fucking robots are cool. And have you ever programmed one and taught one how to do a job? It's like playing a video game, except when you beat it, you're just on to the next task. You might have to design something or figure out something that nobody's figured out before. So that's what I mean, that's what I'm going to do. Like that's what I'm going to end up doing professionally and I'm super excited. I'm gonna make robots for all sorts of things. I'd love to.
Yeah, I don't
But
know what
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
do
So I'm
yet.
just saying,
I wish I did know. Yeah,
I'm
I don't
just
know.
what I'm trying to say, I took the long way around, but if people followed their dreams and what they really wanted to do, it's not like nobody would be doing the jobs. Like the jobs will still get done. People are passionate about all kinds of things.
Right.
Anyway, I went on a rant there. My bad.
No, sorry, no, I was zoning out. Um, no, I like, I totally think that in terms of what my passion is and what I'm trying to figure out is like for me, my thing that I really like is I like being in an environment where nothing is normal, nothing matches up. I'm the only one who speaks a certain language. I don't really know what's going on and being able to navigate that. Like just being for me, I could the most exciting thing for me could be being in a foreign train station and not knowing how to figure it out. That sounds like awesome to me. That sounds like a nightmare for some people. Like I would never want to be in the middle of China with really no idea of where to go, trying to figure things out, trying to figure out, when a bus will come and what direction it's going. And it's a little bit more complicated and it's interesting to be in those type of situations. But things like that is what I strive to put myself through and to learn about. Like those things excite me. Like even like different airports or different restaurants or different parts of cities or being like not being able to speak the normal language, just kind of going with the flow and watching and analyzing people in their day jobs and in their commutes in the morning, like just watching in Mexico, like outside of like a city like an hour or two and like a smaller place, like watching people get up and start their day and like get in their cars and go do things, like just like seeing that at 4:30 to 5:30 in the morning. That's interesting. Those are things that I enjoy to see and pay attention to. But how do I monetize that? Like I know what I love and I know what my passion is. Do I work towards making that my job, or do I work doing something where I can make enough money to where I can go do that when I want, you know?
Well, I agree that's where reality sets
Right.
in, because we all have bills, we all have medical expenses, we all have real reasons why we go to work every day. But, I mean, but just out of you say, like, how would you monetize
Yeah.
that?
There's
But,
got to be
I
a
know
way.
you're a pretty smart guy. Well, what about social engineering? Like, advertising and marketing? Like, going back to that, tying that into me saying, like, "Yeah, if there's a way that I can monetize this thing that I really enjoy doing, this hobby of mine, if I can monetize that, absolutely, I'm gonna monetize that." But if you look at social engineering and learning about an environment or a place or, like, a activity or a culture around a certain around whatever, be it a culture in a certain geography or the culture of what kinds of different people enjoy snowboarding. And if I mean, have you ever considered like getting into like marketing or advertising or any kind of social engineering that would require you to have a deep understanding of different demographics of people?
Um, I think that I would have to find a job in which, you know, obviously like that kind of makes sense, and that is, I don't know how to put it. I would have to find something that I would want to work towards, and they would say this is the type of degree and education that you need to get in order to do this. If I were going to do that, um, if
Well,
that makes
yeah. I
sense.
mean, you would definitely have to do some research in terms of like what do you even call
I
that
don't
job?
know.
Are you like you're basically like a talent agent except for marketplaces instead of individuals? Like, I mean, but that's got to be a thing, right? Some kind of sociology meets statistics. I don't know. Like, that's got to be a thing. I'm saying if you really like if you had the time and energy where you didn't have to worry about your rent and your bills, don't you think you would like Google, like, what do you call that job?
I,
Or
I'm
you'd like
trying to think
call
of,
up some people, call anybody at the Barton agency and just be like, "Hey, is this a thing?" Like, I'm just, is that a thing?
do you need
Like,
anyone
like,
to do this?
yeah, what would you call this job? You're just chatting with a secretary. So, I mean, she's having a fucking awful day, I'm sure. So you just call her and be
She's
like,
gonna
"Hey, listen,
say, "What the fuck are
yeah,"
you
she's gonna
talking?
tell you to
Yeah,
fuck
get
off
the
because what's
fuck
really
out
gonna
of here. You
No,
wish. Yeah,
but
you and
no, I'm just
everybody else.
saying.
So
Yeah, no, I'm just
I think I have
yeah,
to
just be like,
bring
"Yeah, is
something
that
to
a
the
thing? Would
table.
you want somebody to"
The way that
Oh,
you're,
God,
so
well,
that's the way you're thinking about it, right? That's the way you go. That's the way
I'm
your
just being
brain.
optimistic.
Right. So that's the way your brain goes to think about trying to figure out something in relation to this issue. The way mine thinks about it is I have this passion, I have this joy, right? How do I inspire that in other people? How do I share that with other people? How do I excite other people? How do I take what these feelings are that I get when I'm out on a boat with some Russians off the coast of Africa talking about, Trump versus Putin. That's a weird thing to do. But when we're drinking German beers, by the way, it's just interesting. The whole situation is interesting. How do I take like those experiences and what gets me to do it and share that and inspire that in other people and somehow make a living out of it? There's got to be a way through some sort of method. There's something that's missing because more people need to understand that they can save money and travel. More people need to understand that that can be an important thing instead of owning other things or dumping. Like there's a way to do it. There's a way to save money, and I think that there are certain people that just need that extra little push, or
And
and
that's the crazy thing. You always what's that meme of like how are my unemployed friends always taking pictures of them living their best
right,
life? I mean, I know you've seen some iteration
of
of that,
course.
like some asshole who you're working 60, 70 hours a week some weeks selling cars, and then you see people who are like, they're like a cook in a restaurant. They make like 12 bucks an hour because they've been there a while.
Right.
And then, but then, like every 2 months, they're like some crazy place, and you look at that and you're like, dude, how can they? Oh, they make a fraction of what I make, and they're always out doing fun stuff. They make half as much as me. Why does it seem like like? Why does it seem like they always like one? That's envy. That's a shitty way to be. You should be happy when your friends are out
I
doing those
totally
fun things.
agree.
But the other thing, right? But the other thing too, and I do see it in your travels. You don't buy all the flashy shit like you used to. At least not as far as I can
Yeah, I
tell.
don't.
Like, and I used to blow money on that shit. Expensive shoes, these like pressed shirts, and I was like, "Oh yeah, look at I always look fresh. I got the super nice car. Like I'm wearing all the
Right.
clothes." But like the fact of the matter is if you don't spend your money on that, you can make very little and still save
You
enough money that
can.
like, yeah,
It's
yeah,
achievable.
in the springtime, I'm going to Ireland. I'm gonna spend 3 weeks, touring the Irish countryside, and, like, that's the kinda thing that you can do when you don't spend your money on shit you don't
So
need, and keep
Ireland
your bills
Ireland's kind of
low.
expensive, in my opinion.
I believe
Yeah,
it. It's an island.
Ireland's yeah, yeah. Somebody offered me pot there, and they told me it was like $100 for like I guess what they consider I guess a small like a gram or something like that. They said it's an island, and I was like, I'm not buying that, but that's crazy.
An
Like, yeah,
island?
because it's an island.
Is they
Apparently, it's
call it
hard to get drugs there.
dude, that's
Yeah,
crazy. I mean, they have so much countryside and it grows
and
everywhere. You would think that
I mean, they could
you'd
have
think
just
they'd
been
just grow
ripping
it
me
for
off because I'm a
themselves.
foreigner. I mean, it was in Dublin.
That's incredibly
Yeah.
true. Incredibly true. They might have wanted to rob you.
Oh no, they were they I was that's an interesting story being in Ireland. That was just,
Oh,
yeah.
oh,
What?
oh, I lost you for a second.
Interesting. That's weird. I'm not even on the Bluetooth anymore. But
Huh.
so you are going to Ireland for a couple weeks?
No, I
Oh,
wish.
okay.
I'm in school,
Okay,
man.
I thought you said you were going to
Yeah, I
Ireland
know.
for a
I
couple weeks.
realized as I was saying that hypothetical, I realized it was incredibly
Yeah.
misleading. But hey, if I can monetize this show, then I can
Don't go to
leave.
Ireland for 3
Boom, there
weeks.
we
Don't
go.
do that. Go somewhere else.
No, I wouldn't wanna go to Ireland. I'd do Ireland for 1 week, and I'd spend 2 weeks traveling around that no, I'd spend another 3 weeks traveling around the rest of Europe. That would be the shit. Like,
And
go to
it's not that
Germany, go to
expensive.
Italy.
People don't understand what the costs associated with um with traveling. And that was this little idea that I had in terms of making traveling more accessible to other people because apps are so like um common these days. And there's a lot of people there is a lot of people who travel. There are a lot of people who are travelers and would like an opportunity to share their travels um on their social media and some sort of platform where it could allow people to help facilitate these things like kind of like an Expedia. Like you know how you have like Expedia and you have travel apps where people write reviews and stuff, but make it more of a
Yeah.
social network. So
So it's like Airbnb for free. It's
Airbnb,
Airbnb, but
Airbnb,
hostels
yeah,
instead of
it has
B&Bs.
hostels. I mean, it has hotels, and you could see pictures. People take their pictures and say, "I stayed here. I did this. I did that." But also, it gives you tips in terms of how much you can add up how much this trip is actually going to cost. You can put it breaks it down in a monthly way that makes it like this is my next trip. If you could share your next trip with people and you could show them the itinerary and how much it costs, and you can make it affordable, and you could I've saved 50% of this trip up. I'm budgeting this much money away for this so that I can do this at this time. Lock your
Right.
price
I
in,
have to save
dude. It
$30 I have to save $30 every paycheck for the
Right.
next 6
And you
months,
could
and
you
that's
could
all I
set your
need.
timing out. It's like, you know what? I want to go to Africa in 2 years. I've seen that people are taking this trip. I've seen people that are taking this country, going to these places.
Right.
I'm going to plan my trip out. I'm going to budget for it now, and I'm going to you can share that you're saving for it, and other people can talk about the trips they've gone on. You can see the real costs
You can
associated
get
with it. It'll have
share and
yeah,
exchange
and
tips. Dude,
yeah,
this is
and
genius. This is a $1,000,000
yeah,
idea. What the fuck?
and for people that travel a lot like I have, there's always other costs associated that you don't always realize. Like how much should I pay as a traveler coming from an airport? Because in America, we do things legitimately. We have these little boxes that tell you how much you should pay at the front, and there's fares, and you can still get fucked, when you're going around America if you don't know what you're doing in certain cities. But with traveler's knowledge, you want to know how much should I be paying at the airport? How many Colombian pesos? You get this exchange rate. Did you know that in some countries you really shouldn't bring cash and then transfer it at the airport because they rip you off with the rate? It's a common thing. People don't know it when they go though. So another way of doing it is you could click on a thing. It's like, where do I get currency? Where's the best rate exchange around here? And you could have travelers that are updating it. Like, I go here because it's the best. You get their tips, and you could turn this whole thing into this travelers network that's updating, and with a mix of a social media aspect to it. Where, I mean, if you could do
Well,
that right and
you
platform it, it would take the fuck off, and people would understand that travel, like, so that's what I mean by, can I monetize my love for travel? Like, it's, can I,
dude,
you know?
you gotta find a way to name this, like, The Hitchhiker's Guide Across the Globe or something like that. Like, seriously? You like, that's a great idea, and I'm 100% on board with what you're talking about.
It's
In terms
really
of people
cool.
updating it, it's like a living, breathing thing, and then yeah, okay, so,
But there's
you know,
tips. You could also have a dark side to it. You could have, like, if you're over a certain age, like, how do you buy certain drugs in certain countries? In Portugal, I've been to Portugal. Drugs are legal there. So they're not, you're allowed to possess them and do them, but you're not allowed to sell them. So that's an interesting thing, and there's certain places to go for
huh.
that. When you're in Spain, I've
And
bought weed in
that would at least be safer. People wouldn't put themselves in danger to,
right,
like, get robbed or hurt.
right.
So, I mean, I'm throwing that in there because, like, I know that that's a culture thing. A lot of people aren't really into drugs and stuff.
No, but but
But I mean,
there's a
but
huge
I
there's a
don't think
huge drug
anybody
culture. There's a huge
and
there's
there's
brothels too.
nobody right, and nobody's gonna disagree that having those things safely is better than those things existing and all of us just pretending like they don't
Well,
exist.
for me, I think it would be interesting to be able to document the certain things that are going on. In Colombia, I tried, like, some sort of drug that I don't think was illegal, but I tried something I'd never done before. It's called poppers. I mean, it was just interesting. That
Is
would be,
that like the ammonium nitrate,
it
though?
might be. I have no idea.
It kinda wakes you up some?
Yeah.
Were you doing gay stuff, Brandon? That's what
No,
those are
no, no. I
associated
was I was
with
in
gay
I was
people, you
in
know that,
I
right?
was in
It's the
Medellin.
huge thing in gay culture. I don't know anything about it,
No,
though.
they definitely were into girls. We got a section that night, and I became friends with these guys on Instagram. They're like heavily tattooed up Colombians. They didn't really speak English, but I spoke enough Spanish to kind of like get by. And I threw a hotel party that night. And we got kicked out of my hotel and went to the club and got some bottles. And they definitely liked girls, I guess was the point. Is we went out, and I was like, hey, let's go talk to chicks, and they were like excited about my confidence. But when you're in a foreign country and, like, you're the only white dude around and you're in a club and you're American, it's like, dude, I club all, like, we party in America, like, like, it's this is normal for me. I feel at home. I can go do this. It's funny, so I enjoy that. I
Huh.
definitely enjoy that aspect of it.
Dude, that sounds like a great time, and I wish that I did more traveling outside of the country. And I mean, in my life, I've honestly not done very much, as far as travel goes, like,
But think of
definitely
all
not
these
outside
things
of
that
America.
people think of all these things that people tell you about the world that you live in, right? Like, all of these countries, all of these cultures, all of these places are so foreign and unknown to us, but we have opinions on them. Like, we think we know what this is like. We think we know what that's like because America has watered down versions of everything, right? But imagine what our perspectives would be like if we left. Imagine if, instead of everybody trying to own homes or save up for that new car, or be, have all of these extra little charges, that, because these corporations are milking you for everything you're possibly worth. By the time they're done with it, you'll be happy to sit in your box at home looking at a screen, paying for more options on your screens. Like, they'll they'll love that from you if you have nothing at the end of the month, but you're making it by just eating your fast food or eating your whatever, and just kind of being an NPC, right? They love that. But when your perspective changes, you can imagine if you were told that you should save to go to other places. You save up a couple $1,000s because you're stingy enough, and you can make it where you make your lifestyle such that you can leave for a couple weeks every year because that's important to you. I've already told my job that that's important to me. That's something I'm going to do. Imagine the culture of that, being able to leave and go do those things. It changes you. I mean, it's absolutely wonderful. Like, I can't put a value on traveling, on the experiences I've had, on meeting people and seeing things, and things that happen in just happenstance. Just being in Hong Kong, and it pouring down rain, but you're with people from all over Europe and Asia partying, and again, I'm the only one that speaks English, but we're dancing in the rain. Just dancing in the rain with these foreign people. I mean, it really changes you, I think, if you really live life like that. I don't know. I guess that everybody is prepared to do that, but I really think that if you could make people believe that they could, and you could show it, and you gave them a way to save for it, and a tool, more tools to use to do this kind of stuff, like we live in a world where you can see everything. You literally can go anywhere you want with an American passport. It's so powerful. It's so powerful to be able to see all those things, and we're lucky to be able to do that. I'm thankful, you know?
No, dude, I definitely agree with you. I think that that's a kind of a novel way of looking at things, and probably something everybody. Because I mean, there's going to be tons of people that are going to poke holes in what you say because it is a little bit optimistic, but it's not unattainable. Like, I mean, if you give it a couple minutes of a think over, it's like, honestly, like it's a whole different lifestyle. Like, I mean, you're not going to be saving for retirement as aggressively, but you're also not waiting to try and pack it all in the end. And I think that
Yeah.
a lot of people that's lost on them. So I think you bring up an excellent point. People should
So
consider and at least weigh.
6 weeks in Asia cost me about $5,000. That's it, right? And that's me like staying in nice hotels. That's like last minute flights anywhere I want to go. Like I just booked it
Yeah,
two
you
days
popped
before I
over to
wanted to go.
Japan, which is one of the most
Yeah,
expensive countries in the
yeah.
world.
I hopped over into Tokyo for a little bit, but look, it's not as expensive as America. Do you understand that? Like,
Well, okay, but I just want to stop you right there because you did say that earlier, but that's because we make things more expensive because we're constantly buying shit we don't need. Because I don't know if you've ever been like I spent like a couple years like subsistence living because I was
right?
like underemployed in a restaurant and like I mean I've been like not like broke, but I've been pretty damn close before and I mean, in times like that, you can make $20 go like 2 weeks, man. Like you're buy like
Okay, so
you're eating apples and bananas and like that's it. Like you're getting like the last minute free produce from the store, ringing it up like 10 cent like it's zucchinis.
you're also you're also failing to realize you're paying rent too, right? You probably have a
Right.
car.
I guess that's true. That's
Those are
true.
all things that are associated with living. So if you don't really have those things,
Right, when you're
a lot of
traveling,
people
those
don't
things
have
aren't.
car payments. Right.
Yeah.
So at the end of my lease is when I went. When my lease was up, I moved my stuff into storage for a month and I saved
Oh.
the money for rent. Yeah, and I
And then
left.
you
And when I got
have a paid for 20-year-old car that, gets you to and from work that you can also just put into storage or park at mom and dad's house. And
oh,
I
if you're making enough money, you can handle the $200 to $300 payment.
well, I
Like if
mean,
you're
I'm
if
just
you're if
saying
you're
if
working
you
full time.
really wanna get those bills out of the way, if you're
Oh, if you really want to get those bills
like,
out of
I'm
the way, you
driving
can find a Craigslist car for $200 that will
yeah.
work.
I'm
People
driving
do it
an
all the time.
'04 I'm driving an '04 Buick right now. Got it rides just fine, it doesn't have maintenance issues, and, I mean, other than my insurance, it's, monthly, it doesn't really cost anything to drive. Still gets
I
about
still
30
got the
miles a
maximum.
gallon. Yeah, still gets about 30 miles a gallon, like, on the highway. So, like, it's not a Honda, it's not, like, in the mid-40s, it's not at 40. But, I mean, 30 is still pretty good unless you've got, like, more than half an hour commute. So, I mean, I
That's
don't know.
great.
Yeah, and it's fine for me. It keeps my bills low, which affords me the ability to take 18 credits this semester and have to spend a lot of time focused on school.
Right. That's I mean that's that see that's the thing. That's another thing is school. So for me, I only got a 2-year degree. I haven't finished the 4. I understand that a lot of what people tell you when you graduate high school is what you should do is immediately go into school, and I understand that who am I to really tell anybody anything different? But I can say that I'm happy with my life, and I'm happy with how things have turned out, and I've decided that I wanted to travel and focus on that with all the money I had. At a certain point, you remember when that changed over when I started doing that a couple of years
Oh
ago.
yeah,
But I was like, you know what? That's what I'm going to do, and that's still what I'm doing. My next trip is going to be to Africa. The moment that I feel comfortable doing it, I'm going to go do it. That's
dude,
just how I live my life.
that's awesome, man. Before you go on that trip, we're gonna have to do like some kind of special episode with video. We'll like pop champagne to like say bye. In case we never see you again.
Maybe I'll do a show. Maybe I'll find somebody to
Oh,
be on the show that's from Africa for
if
you.
you can if you're at a place that has decent Wi-Fi, shit, dude,
Oh,
maybe we
dude.
could do an
Of
episode
course they
from
have
Africa.
Wi-Fi.
You can give us a mid-trip update.
They have they have
They've
Wi-Fi
got
there.
infrastructure.
A,
Yeah, I know they've
a
got
common
I just
misconception about the rest of the world, and some of them are true. Like the things that you would think they would have, like you would think, like if you think about Spain, right? Like what do you know about Spain?
it's got the highest unemployment rate, of any first world country for young adult men.
Okay,
That's the first thing
that
I know about Spain.
I
I
was
also know it's directly across from Morocco, and there's a ton of drug dealers there. I wonder if there's any correlation.
maybe. I mean, I don't know about the drug scene in Spain. What I was gonna say is that you would think, being a European country, that they at least probably have like air conditioned buildings, right? Like they're living with AC.
Oh, I know. In Europe, in my foreign exchange sister Sonia, she told me that in Germany they're not big on AC either.
Yeah, they don't because electric is like power is so expensive.
What? They've got British Petroleum. I guess do they just hijack that straight to London and everything else is European
It's just
Union, but not the petroleum?
it's it's just the way that the buildings, the way that they built things are not super energy efficient. Their buildings are not as new as ours, and their buildings are not as good as ours, and their country doesn't have as much money as ours. We have AC running all the time because power is cheap. Something about the way that they're getting their power is just really expensive. It just costs more. Like
Well,
leaving a
probably
light on
the
makes a huge difference. Like if you leave your lights on at night, like we take that for granted. We let shit run all the time, and we
right.
can afford it. You
Well,
could
we're
never afford that.
people we talk about the oil crisis so much that I think a lot of people forget that America is like the number one exporter. In addition to being the number one importer of petroleum and petroleum products, we are also the number one exporter of petroleum and petroleum products as well. And I think a lot of people forget that. That's something we're really good
Good
at,
old
believe it or
America,
not.
man.
Yeah, I mean that's
One
so when they're oh America's only number one in school shootings. Wrong. We use and sell the most of the thing that's killing the planet. Wrong. But okay, well,
Dude, a
man,
lot of things we do are inherently evil, but I mean, if you go everywhere, it's only made me more thankful to live here. Like I know, like I could probably live on the coast of Italy for a little bit. There's a couple places I could see myself. Like I could probably live in Tokyo for a year, or like other parts of, yeah. I'm trying to think of other parts of the world. There are places I feel like I could live for a year, but it gives you so much perspective and to be thankful for, again, like what we have here, and just thankful for the good the good infrastructure, the government that does sees us as if they need to serve us. If you go to the DMV, even though the lines are long, they have to help you out. They have to give you at least some sort of level of customer service. Like they have to. That's just their job as government employees. Like in other countries, it doesn't really work like that. It just doesn't. Um, and they can make things a lot more difficult. If you want to get a license or an ID in the mail, you can do that online. You can just get a new driver's license shipped to your house because you can get on the internet. Because we're put together. We're pretty efficient in those terms, and that's something that's not a lot of other places. Try getting your ID mailed to you in Russia,
yeah.
like by going on the internet. It's probably not happening.
That's actually it's really refreshing to hear you say that, especially in this time where I think we're a pretty spoiled country in general. I think that's something that a
Oh,
lot of
dude, we're
Americans
so
take for
spoiled. We can
granted.
drink our water, and we're still questioning it.
Right. And it's crazy because like I mean in America like literally our number one health risk is overconsumption. It's obesity. Like I mean I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, and I didn't come up with this. This is like I mean, this has been a long time coming. So like
And
when
killing yourself.
right, and
People
yet
are eating too much and killing themselves.
we have so like such a political divide where people act they act like we are heading straight into the sun on like a collision course. Like people act like this country's falling apart, and it's what they're really doing is actively tearing it apart. Like definitely there are things that we could do better. That is for damn certain there are things we could do better. But there are a whole lot of things we do pretty damn well, and I think a lot of people take that totally for granted when you hear people complain about the way things are right now.
Have you ever eaten sweet, or drank sweet tea and eaten mashed potatoes?
Yeah, It's great.
Yeah, those are really good.
Yeah.
We do those really well here,
Yeah. There's
amongst other things as well.
amongst many other things. But anyway, I don't want this to drag on too long. But dude, we definitely got to do this again next week or something because
Yeah, no, we can just keep getting busting these out. And for any listeners that are out here, I was really trying to come up with a way that I could be a part of this podcast like once every so often, and like a small little tidbit. Either I could come up with some sort of bit or something to update each week, just something that crosses my mind. But
maybe that's what we need. Maybe the fans don't. I've get a couple fans write in every now and again, but I mean, truthfully, like there are people that I'm probably gonna have on the podcast to talk about the things they write about. But another idea that would be fun, write in shit to Brandon. write in write in some funny news stories. Hey, did you hear about the priest who got stuck inside the church in Texas? I don't fucking know. If you see some crazy
dude, that is
headline.
not what I thought he was going to be stuck inside.
No, no. Or like, the man in Florida who was pinned in his bathroom because his house got infested by alligators. If you see some
Yeah,
crazy headline, send them in and we'll have Brandon read the news. Or
funny news stories. If you can come up with a superpower that you think would be really, really interesting, like that superpower I was talking about the other day.
oh
I
yeah.
was sitting outside and somebody walked by, and I like threw a fake football to them, and like they acted like they caught it. And I thought about it. I was like, man, would that be funny if every time I threw a fake football at somebody, like there's actually something that was invisible that hit them? Like I would fuck with people all day.
All
I
the
would like
time.
look at some. I would go into the gym and just throw a fake football and just hit somebody square. Like,
Yeah, while they're, like, in the middle of
oh
a
man,
squat, you hit them like, right it thunks off the back of their head. Oh, geez, that could
yeah.
get dangerous really fast.
Grocery shopping, you know what I'm saying? Like
Oh,
you
geez.
could you could throw fake footballs at anything sitting on somebody's desk. You could cause destruction
Yeah.
with fake footballs.
Anybody
So anyway,
who's
that'd be a funny
got
superpower.
anybody who's got a better fake superpower than that you tell us what the superpower is and tell us why it's better. But, anyway, I
I agree.
guess, okay, that's it for me on this one, but we'll definitely, do this again very soon, but I guess now it's time for some Keenan Rayner music. This time we'll do some queso drip.